Good evening, everybody, and a warm welcome to our participants, invitees, and our chief guest. Today is the third day of the Encore Literary Festival, and once again, we have another set of enthusiastic and talented Encore students exhibiting their literary skills. Now, each of them will perform a piece of their choice. That would be a poem, or a story, or a monologue. The last 2 days' performances were awesome, and today's, I believe, will be just as delightful. Now, before I bring in our performing students, I'd like to give you a heads up on what goes on in Encore, the Language Arts Studio. We, the trainers in Encore, that's Anna Dragonet, Maria Julian, and I, have come together as a team, you could say a force, to focus on developing skills in children in performing and speaking in a variety of forms, including poetry, prose, monologues, speeches, and play extracts in a range of styles and from different periods and cultures. Encore prepares students to take the Trinity College of London Speech and Drama and Communication Skills examinations, thus preparing them for situations in both education and life per se, which would thereby enable them to develop invaluable 21st century skills in communication and creativity, and above all, to build confidence. Now, so much for the work we do. Let me begin by introducing you to our special guest, our chief guest, Ms. Seema Ramchandani, who says she is indeed very pleased to be a part of our program this evening. Now, Seema Ramchandani is a multi-talented lady, as she wears many hats, that of an educationist, an international professional singer, and a facilitator for the Art of Living Foundation. Oh, and in between all of this, she manages to fit in scuba diving. Yes, she's a certified scuba diving instructor and loves hiking too. Seema has served in the Hong Kong Education Bureau and has completed a master's in education from the Hong Kong University. She is on the standing committee of professional development courses in early childhood at the Education University of Hong Kong. So here we have our chief guest, smart, charming, and intelligent, and physically fit and agile too, to boot. Pleasure to have you, Seema, in our midst, and thank you for being with us this evening.
My pleasure.
Our lineup, you're welcome, you're welcome. Our lineup of performers in order of appearance is Devansh, Tia Shetty, Akanksha Adzul, Kshiti Jagtap, and Suraj Narayanan. And so we begin with Devansh, who is one of our bright distinction students, junior students. Devansh will be performing a classic children's poem composed by a renowned poet of the 19th century. Now watch Devansh performing this old classic in his charming, unique style. Devansh, before you begin, please tell us how old you are and why you chose to perform this poem. What is it you like about this poem, Devansh?
I am 8 years old and I chose this poem because it is very funny.
Okay, good. Now, are you ready to begin? Please start.
Yes, My Shadow by R.L. Stevenson. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He's very, very like me from the heels up to the head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow, not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. And he sometimes shoots up taller like an India rubber ball. And he sometimes gets so little like there's none of him at all. He hasn't got a notion of how children ought to play and can only make a fool of me in every sort of way. He stays so close beside me, he's covered you can see. I do not to Nasi as that shadow sticks to me. One morning, very early before the sun was up, I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. But my lazy little shadow, like an iron sleepyhead, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed.
Thank you. That was such a cute and wonderful performance. Devansh, thank you. Indeed, shadows can behave very deceptively and can be pretty bothersome sometimes, as aptly expressed in your performance. Our next student is Tia, and she will be narrating an excerpt from classical literature written by a Swiss author in the late 19th century. This piece is from a story about a young girl, Heidi, who goes to live with her grandfather in the mountains of Switzerland. Listen to Tia
Sa-
telling us about one of Heidi's experiences as she tends to her grandfather's goats in the Swiss Alps. Hello,
uh,
Tia.
Sandy, 1 minute. People have just entered. Please ask them to mute. Ask them to.
Everyone, please mute your mics. Hello, Tia.
Just a minute, Sandy. There are two names, Yvette and Keith D'Souza. Would you kindly mute your mics, please? I can hear some
Okay.
sound.
Tia, could you please tell us what is it you like about this excerpt you have chosen? What is it you like about this?
Ma'am, this story is really very interesting. And in
Mm-hmm.
this passage, Heidi stops Peter from hurting the goats.
Oh, yeah, that's a sweet response. Thank you, Tia. Are you ready to start?
Yes,
Please
ma'am.
start. Please start.
A passage from Heidi by Johanna Fury. Peter had caught sight of the inquisitive greenfinch taking leaps in that direction, for he was only just in time, for the animal had already sprung to the edge of the abyss. All Peter could do was to throw himself down and seize one of her hind legs. Greenfinch, thus taken by surprise, began bleating furiously, angry at being held so fast and prevented from continuing her voyage of discovery. She struggled to get loose and endeavored so obstinately that Peter shouted to Heidi to come and help him, for he could not get up and was afraid of pulling out the goat's leg altogether. Heidi had already run up, and she saw at once the danger both Peter and the animal were in. She quickly gathered a bunch of sweet smelling leaves and then, holding them under Greenfinch's nose, said coaxingly, "Come, come, Greenfinch, you must not be naughty. Look, you might fall down there and break your leg, and that would give you a dreadful pain." The young animal turned quickly and began contentedly eating the leaves out of Heidi's hand. Meanwhile, Peter got onto his feet again and took hold of Greenfinch by the band round her neck from which her bell was hung, and Heidi taking hold of her in the same way on the other side. They led the wanderer back to the rest of the flock that had remained peacefully feeding. Peter, now he had his goat in safety, lifted his stick in order to give her a good beating as punishment, and Greenfinch, seeing what was coming, shrank back in fear. But Heidi cried out, "No, no, Peter, you must not strike her. See how frightened she is." "She deserves it," growled Peter, and again lifted his stick. Then Heidi flung herself against him and cried indignantly, "You have no right to touch her. It will hurt her. Let her alone." Peter looked with surprise at the commanding little figure whose dark eyes were flashing, and reluctantly he let his stick drop. "Well, I will let her off if you will give me some more of your cheese tomorrow," he said. for he was determined to have something to make up to him for his fright. You shall have it all, tomorrow and every day. I do not want it, replied Heidi, giving ready consent to his demand. And I will give you bread as well, a large piece like you had today. But then you must promise never to beat Greenfinch or Snowflake or any of the goats. All right, said Peter. I don't care, which meant that he would agree to the bargain and let go of Greenfinch, who joyfully sprang to join her companions. Thank you.
Thank you, Tia, for the beautiful narration, which brought out the compassion and kindness in the character of Heidi. Next, we have one of our senior students, Akanksha Adzul, an enthusiastic and hardworking student who is always eager to give of her best. A teacher's delight indeed. Akanksha will be presenting a classic poem composed by Henry Longfellow in the middle of the 19th century. It is a beautiful poem representing the impact of hatred in the form of an arrow and permanence of joy in the form of a song. Akanksha, could you please tell us what it is you like about this poem?
This poem.
Akanksha, your camera is not on. Please put on your camera. And I would request Yvette to please mute her mic. Akanksha, go ahead. What is it you like about this poem? Why did you decide to pick it?
Is she?
Akanksha? Yeah, there you are.
This is just around the fact that words are unbroken. I found the tone of the poem inspiring. That's why I chose this poem.
Yeah, you're unclear, you know. I mean, okay. Can you please start then?
No, Sandy, let's do another child and come back. Maybe her internet will stabilize. Yeah,
Okay.
Akanksha, you
Yes.
hold on.
Our next performer is Kshiti Jagtap, a punctual and persevering student, always ready and willing to follow instructions and try out new ways to present her pieces. Kshiti will be presenting a bold but funny monologue wherein one of Santa Claus's feisty elves provokes the Santa team to do a rethink about Santa's fake character, which he tries to portray to the world as against the actuality or reality of it. Hello, Kshiti.
Hi.
Did you enjoy preparing for this poem, for this piece? I'm sorry.
Yes, I
And what
really
did you
enjoyed.
like? You did. What do you like about this piece?
It is a humorous monologue.
Okay, and you like the humor in it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and start, please.
Elves on strike. As the leader of Elves Union rallies the elves against Santa. As the leader of the Order of the North Pole Elves, I stand here today and urge you to say no to Santa. No more working from sun up to sundown without so much as a snickerdoodle break. What does Santa think we are robots? No, we are the elves and we have rights. Tinsel, remember when he made you clean Dasher's stall after he got into the barrel of chocolate? Cleaning chocolate poo is not in the elf's job description. And Snazzy, there was that time when he ordered you to let Mrs. Claus use you as a mannequin for the little girl's dresses she was making. Humiliating. I mean, what the falala was he thinking? I mean, he makes us wear these ridiculous Pinocchio outfits and sing while we walk, while he sits on his big fat butt watching the Weather Channel. And on Christmas Day, he takes all the credit. Mom, Santa came. Oh, look what Santa got me. How did you know I wanted this? Listen up, children of the world. Santa is not the one who made your train sets and your dolly houses and your walkie talkies. It was us, the elves of the Order of the North Pole. We did it. Santa is just a lazy guy with a wiggly belly who basically works just one day a year. Nothing but a glorified delivery man, if you ask me. What's that? Santa is where? Oh, fudgesicles. Thank you.
Thank you, Kshiti, for your amazing performance. I truly like the way you varied your tone of voice to bring out the meaning of your lines. Thank you. Can we get back to Akanksha now? Akanksha, please speak up. Are you there? I think she's gone off again.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I can, here she comes. Here she comes.
Akanksha?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, she's coming. She's coming.
Oh,
Just give her a minute. Yeah, she's in. Yeah, I think it was quite quiet now, no?
yes.
Yeah, now it's
Akanksha,
fine. Yeah.
connect your camera, please. Akanksha, cannot see you. She's gone off again.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Oh, you're there? Well, yes. I keep shifting. Start. Could you please tell us what you like about the piece you've chosen? The poem?
This poem is based around the fact
Yeah,
of
go
the
ahead.
poem. I found so that's why I chose this poem.
Okay. Can you please begin?
Yes, ma'am. The Arrow and the Song by H.W. Longfellow. I shot an arrow into the air. It fell to earth, I knew not where. For so swiftly it flew, the sight could not follow in its flight. I breathed a song into the air. It fell to earth, I knew not where. For who hath sight so keen and strong that it can follow the flight of song? Long, long afterward, in an oak, I found the arrow still unbroke, and the song from beginning to end I found again in the heart of a friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Akanksha. Your camera is off. Can you put it on for us to see you? Your camera is off. Oh, there you are. Ah,
It's on.
beautiful. No, it wasn't on earlier. Maria, did you get her on?
No, it was not.
No.
No. I got a message saying her bandwidth was low.
Okay. So thank you, Akanksha. We heard you clearly, loud and clearly, but we did not see you. Thank you for your amazing performance. Indeed, a song always has a calming effect on our minds and hearts as against a piercing arrow. And hence one must always strive to spread the message of joy and love, not only through our words, but also through our actions. And who better than our chief guest, Seema, to endorse this thought? As she travels around the world performing concerts for spiritual upliftment of the masses, irrespective of caste, creed, color. Thank you, Seema, for spreading so much love, peace, and contentment through your musical talent. Thank you. Our final performance is one of our most disciplined and smart students, Suraj. I'd like Suraj himself to give us a heads up about his presentation. Suraj, please start by telling us why you chose to narrate this particular story and also give us a brief summary of the story you're going to present.
Good evening, everybody. I have chosen a story about Peter Rabbit. Two clever little rabbits, Peter and his cousin, Benjamin, try to outsmart the grumpy and horrible McGregors to save their gullible chum, a turkey, from an unsavory end. Will they succeed in their mission? Let's find out in this endearing tale of Peter Rabbit. The Christmas Tale of Peter Rabbit by Emma Thompson. Rabbits are always very uppity during the Christmas season, and Peter Rabbit was no exception. After upsetting a third bowl of mincemeat onto the sandy floor, he was sent to his aunt's to fetch a cup of suet. On the way, Peter bumped into his cousin, Benjamin Bunny, who was looking equally gloomy. His mother had sent him to Mrs. Rabbit's for a handful of raisins. The cousins set about playing rabbit cricket with fir cones when William the turkey sauntered by. William was a puffed-up person, full of his own importance. Nothing made him happier than his big and bold, brave fan of tail feathers, which rattled upon the cobbles as he started about. Christmas is a fine time, he gobbled at Peter and Benjamin. I am not sent to fetch suet or raisins. Mrs. McGregor brings me such treats every day. Nothing is too good. And for they say that on Christmas Day, they are to have me for dinner. I am their honored guest. Quite quickly, Peter and Benjamin were struck by the same horrible thought. They had to save their feathered friend from becoming dinner for Mr. and Miss McGregor. Later during the day, the cousins held a whispered council of war. How are we going to stop them? Asked Benjamin nervously. We'll hide him, resolved Peter. Good idea, said Benjamin admiringly. First of all, Peter and Benjamin tried hiding William upside down in the shed. Then they tried hiding him in the coal scuttle. But his fan of tail feathers always gave him away. William refused point blank to follow them in. Christmas Eve came and there was a heavy fall of snow. My magnificence cannot be hidden. If I run away, they will see my tracks in the snow, said William mournfully. I can only wait for the axe to fall. Just then, Mrs. McGregor crossed the yard wearing her best bonnet with trimmed feathers on it. She was on her way to the Christmas fair. Benjamin had quite an unexpected idea. Moments later, Mr. McGregor came into the yard waving a cleaver. Time to dispatch that turkey, he muttered, licking his lips. But William was not in a shed, nor was he by the kitchen window, waiting to be fed scraps. He was not even in the vegetable patch. In fact, William was nowhere to be seen. When Mrs. McGregor came home to find their Christmas dinner had vanished, she gave Mr. McGregor a frightful row. How in the world could anyone mislay a turkey that size? She shrieked. Neither of them noticed the fabulous new hat on the hall stand. On Christmas Day, Mr. and Mrs. McGregor had nothing for dinner but boiled potatoes and winter cabbage. I am pleased to say that the rabbit family celebrated with pickled radishes, lavender wine, and pies. William cordially invited, but he was too big to fit in the bottle. Humbly, he offered to fold away his fan of tail feathers. At bedtime, Peter gave Benjamin a pat on his back. "It was your good idea that saved William," he said. "Well done." Benjamin Bunny thought he had never been so happy. The end. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Suraj. That was a brilliant performance. Thank you so much, so expressively and clearly narrated. Well, this brings us to the end of our performances today, but I would now like to call upon our chief guest, Seema, to give us feedback about our students' performances and also to share her thoughts with us about the importance of children involving themselves at an early age in developing the arts, the likes of poetry, drama, communication skills, theater, etc. Go ahead, Seema.
I have always been a big fan of literature and language arts, and I think listening to you all today has just delighted me because I'm returning to India. I used to teach in India, by the way, you guys don't know this. I used to teach in India 18 years ago, or like, yeah.
Okay.
And now I'm back after teaching in Hong Kong for 14 years, and my kids are like your age. And it has just delighted me to see that you guys are engaging with such texts and such capsules. Like, you know, like when we read something new and they're timeless, right? You're reciting a poem from like even before our grannies were born, you know? So we get a view of a world that we have never lived in. And, you know, that's how poetry and literature helps us to just, you know, like it's like traveling in a time machine. And I must say, I was very, very impressed. Was it Kshiti who did the humorous poem?
Yes, she did.
It was really nice. And Suraj, you were biting every word. I love that. You know, it's all about projection. It's all about using your belly and using your entire body and your mind when you're speaking. Like we should definitely look like we know what we're talking about, like we understand it. If I just go blah 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 blah, you know, it's not that engaging, and it shows that I don't really understand what I'm saying. Right? No? Yes.
True. Yeah.
So
sure.
I really, all of you basically showed that you know what you're talking about. I was very impressed with the level of understanding. I was very impressed with many of you have very good pacing, you know, don't rush through it and don't be too slow either. Good even pace, good clear articulation, good projection. I mean, enjoy, man. I mean, you cannot get enough of poetry and drama, and they are just endless sources of entertainment. Didn't you guys have fun even doing this?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I had fun.
Give a thumbs up.
Yes, definitely.
I had a lot of fun just listening to you guys. So thank you very much for inviting me. And if
And now we want you to sing.
What?
We want the song. We got 6 minutes.
What do I sing?
Sing,
Come on, guys. Don't we want the song?
Unprepared. But what?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I should have told her. Anna, you came up with this. You should have told me. I would have told her.
Anything.
Like
one of your Christmas songs from the Christmas album?
Oh, Christmas is coming up.
It's that time of the year, little children far and near, look up to the skies with a sparkle in their eyes, hoping for a glimpse of jolly old Santa Claus. Now Santa Claus, he knows a lot, he knows how many points you got, he knows if you've been good and whether you should get a lovely gift from jolly old Santa Claus. Santa Claus is coming to town. He takes his reindeer all around. Rudolph and his friends won't get any rest till Santa's bag of toys is empty.
Kshiti, you heard that? You heard that? What
Yeah.
Seema?
Come on, guys. Come on, Suraj.
Come on.
Give a
Clap,
big
clap, clap.
hand. Come on, Suraj. Very good.
Thank you, Seema, for that impromptu. It was you're so good. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Now this beautiful, yes. Thank you, Seema, for your encouraging and loving words, and of course the song, the climax, of course. Wish you the very best in all your future pursuits. Yeah.
Thank
This brings to
And
the. Sorry, you said something?
I wanted to say good luck to all these kids and to say thank you for entertaining me. And I hope you keep reading and you keep expanding your mind and your world with so many beautiful pieces of work that's out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
lifetime is
Thank
not
you.
enough, you know.
Yeah, one lifetime is really not enough for an ocean, more than an ocean of work. This brings us to the close of day 3. Thank you to all our students, our performers, for your awesome performances, and to the parents for your eager interest and support. Now, do not forget to tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow is our final day at 7, the last day of our fest. Miss Anna will send you the invitation. Do invite your family and friends to watch the performances, and let's make it a great, wide, wonderful, emphatic Encore community gathering, okay? Do send the invitation to everybody you know. How about that? Now, good night,
Yes.
and God bless you all. Thank
Good
you.
night. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, ma'am.
Bye.